You ever watch a truly great athlete and wonder what separates them from just the good ones? I mean, beyond the obvious physical talent. Well, the real secret, the key to unlocking that constant, never-ending improvement, isn't what you might think.
It's a huge question, right? It's something that keeps athletes and coaches up at night. You see two people with almost identical talent, same training, same opportunities, but one of them just hits a wall, they plateau, while the other one just keeps getting better and better. So, what's the difference maker?
Well, here it is. The secret isn't just in their muscles. It's all in their head. It's their mindset. The engine that drives that relentless growth is this powerful mental framework that turns, well, everything, every single practice, every win, and especially every loss, into fuel for getting better.
So let's open up what we're calling the athlete's mental toolkit. We're going to look at 5 essential tools. First, we'll cover the mindset, which is the foundation. Then, how to learn from failure. After that, the incredible power of reflection. Number 4 is all about putting feedback to work. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to build the mental resilience that holds it all together. Okay, let's grab that first tool. The mindset is everything. Seriously, think of this as the concrete foundation for the entire house. Everything else we talk about is built right on top of this. An athlete's core belief about their own potential, well, that changes everything. And it pretty much boils down to these 2 different ways of thinking. On one hand, you've got the fixed mindset. That's the belief that you're either born a great athlete or you're not. Talent is fixed. But on the other side, you've got the growth mindset. And that's the belief that your skills are something you build through hard work and practice. One of these mindsets builds a ceiling over your head, and the other one gives you a launch pad.
And that right there, that quote really says it all, doesn't it? When you have a growth mindset, you don't see a tough opponent or a grueling practice as some kind of threat. Nope. You see it as an opportunity, a chance to learn something new, to push your limits, and to actually improve. That simple shift, it's a total game changer.
So building right on top of that mindset is our second tool, learning from every single failure. This is all about how the best athletes process their mistakes. They don't just get upset and move on, they actually use their setbacks as stepping stones to get to the next level. And there's a real process to it. It's not just a vague idea. Step 1, they stop and they reflect. They analyze what actually went wrong and, more importantly, why. This is all about self-awareness and taking ownership. Step 2, they use that info to set new, really specific goals. And finally, step 3, they make a concrete, actionable plan to get there. It's a system for bouncing back stronger. So let's just get this straight. For an athlete who's trying to grow, failure is not the enemy. It's not the opposite of success. It's just feedback. It's valuable information that tells you exactly what you need to work on next. That's it. Which leads us perfectly into our third tool, the power of reflection. I mean, you can't learn from that feedback if you're not even paying attention, right? Improvement is just impossible without some honest, critical self-awareness. So how do they get that self-awareness? Well, it's a combination of things. They make it a habit to reflect on their performances, not just if they won or lost, but how they played. They're also brutally honest with themselves about what they're good at and, what they're not so good at. And this is huge. They don't just wait for feedback to come to them, they actively go out and ask for it. A really powerful way to do this is something as simple as journaling. When you actually write stuff down, you start to see patterns you'd never notice otherwise. You might realize, every time I get less than 7 hours of sleep, my performance dips. Or that pregame routine really worked for me. It basically makes the invisible stuff visible. It turns fuzzy feelings into hard data you can actually use. And here we are at tool number 4, putting feedback to work. This is where that idea of ownership really clicks into high gear. The best athletes on the planet don't just sit back and take criticism. They go searching for it. They hunt for it because they know it's the fuel they need to get better. Now, of course, the kind of feedback you get really matters. A great coach isn't just a critic pointing out every little thing you did wrong. They give constructive feedback. It's all framed around growth and development. The whole conversation is about building you up, not tearing you down. And this, right here, this is the thing that separates the good from the great. Lots of athletes can hear feedback, but the best ones, they truly absorb it. They take total ownership of it. It becomes their personal responsibility to understand it, to ask questions, and to figure out how to apply it the very next time they train. Okay, that brings us to our final and maybe most important tool of all, building mental resilience. This is the glue. It's the mental toughness that makes all the other tools actually work.
especially when things get really, really hard.
So what does resilience really look like? Well, it's got a few key parts. First up, resilient athletes actually embrace challenges. They don't run from the tough stuff. They lean into it because they know that's where the real growth happens.
Second, they work hard to maintain a positive mindset. Now, this doesn't mean they're happy all the time, but it does mean they control their inner voice. They focus on effort, on progress, and they don't let one mistake completely wreck their confidence.
And third, and this ties it all together, they learn from setbacks. See how it all connects? Resilience, when you get right down to it, is the ability to get knocked down, figure out why you got knocked down, and use that knowledge to get back up stronger and smarter than you were before. So, there you have it, the whole mental toolkit. It all starts with that growth mindset. Then you use failure and self-reflection as your guides. You actively seek out and act on feedback to speed things up. And you build resilience to keep you going through it all. You know, these aren't just for sports. These are tools for getting better at pretty much anything in life. So as we wrap up, the real question isn't for me. It's for you. Looking at these 5 tools, whether you're an athlete, a student, a professional, whatever your goal is, what's the first tool you're going to consciously pick up and put in your own toolkit?